Chapter 15. Boone. "Jack here?" I ask, heading to the front desk. My accountant scuttles in behind me, holding his briefcase. I act like this is normal shit and smile. "Tell him Mr. Price is here to see him." The receptionist is all fake smiles for me today. "Jack Jackson, Jack Farrington, or Jack Richards?" Like I remember. They're all the same to me. Con man and chauvinist assholes that talked over Ivy and tried to steal her business. I'm gonna make them respect her. The hard way. I glance round the office, looking for a familiar blonde head, but I don't see her. "First one," I say, since I need to pick a name. She nods and dials a number. "Mr. Jackson, Mr. Price is here to see you." Before she can put down the phone, Jack's heading down the stairs toward me, all smiles. He's even more orange today than the last time. "Boone," he calls out as if we're great buddies. "I'm so glad you decided to come back." "Wanted to buy some real estate," I drawl. "Thought you'd be the man to see." "I am absolutely the man to see," he agrees, giving my accountant a curious look. He extends a hand to me, and when I ignore it, gestures at a conference room, his smile growing a little more forced. "Interested in the house I mentioned?" "Actually, I'm wanting to buy a business office," I tell him as we stroll into a fancy-pants tiny office with a ridiculous table. I look down the hall as we head in, but there's still no Ivy. God, I miss her. "Soon," I tell myself. "You'll see her very soon." My accountant sits down next to me and opens his briefcase, pulling out the checkbook. "Where's Ivy today?" I ask. Jack's smile gets a little thin. "Well, I'm sorry to say that Ms. Smithfield's no longer with the company. We had to let her go." I see. Rage burns in my gut. I think of Ivy. My Ivy, being cast out on her ass by this jerk. $10 says she did nothing wrong. They're punishing her for something to do with me. I clench my hands under the table. Today, I was just gonna buy this business and give it to her. Now, time for a new tactic. "I can assure you that this won't interrupt your business with us in the slightest, Mr. Price. There are many excellent real estate agents here, such as yourself," I drawl. He grins at me like we're buddies. "Such as myself. So, what kind of office are you looking for?" Jack asks quickly, changing the subject. "How many employees are you looking to house?" "I want this office." His eyes widen. "This one? But it's not for sale." "Aw, come now, Jack," I tell him smoothly as the accountant opens his books and poises his pen. "You and I are businessmen. I think we both know anything's for sale for the right price. And I want this office. Here. Today. Right now." He frowns at me like I'm crazy. "You want us to vacate the office today?" "I'm willing to make a very generous offer for this building and all the furnishings. I'll even give you an hour to get all your important documents and computers out of here." And I smile, trying to look like I'm just real focused on owning this particular building, like it's no big deal. Like I ain't gonna burn this shit to the ground the moment we shake hands. Because 3 Jacks? These assholes are going down in flames, and it's gonna be for Ivy. all for Ivy. Now, I say, leaning forward, let's talk business, you and I. I'm sure we can come up with a number that'll make you a happy camper.
Ivy. My phone rings just as I'm scooping a double-decker cone and getting chocolate ice cream all over my hands. The ringtone is loud and brassy, and I wince as it continues on even as I finish the customer's order. Over in the tiny cubby that passes as an office at 2 Scoops, the shift manager is glaring at me. I wipe my hands clean on a towel and sigh at the stains of chocolate on my white work polo. I can't afford a second shirt, so I'm going to have to wash this one in the sink when I get home. My phone gives one last buzz, and I race toward the back counter where I left it. "Sorry," I whisper to my boss, and go to turn off the ringer on my phone when a message pops up. Farah. OMG, Ivy, call me ASAP. Farah. Seriously. Farah. You need to get down here. It's important. I shoot an uneasy glance at my boss, but she's busy staring at her own phone. There's no customers in line at the moment, so I type a quick message back. Ivy. What's going on? Farah. Your boyfriend is at 3 Jacks and you need to come get him. Ivy. What? Boone? Farah. Yep, he's looking for you. Farah. And he says he's going to torch the place. He just bought it and now he's going to torch it. WTF. There are fire trucks here and everything. I had to clean out my desk. What? I immediately think of the golf course. This is retribution. Oh my God. He was insulted at 3 Jacks, and so now he's going to buy the building and raze it to the ground just like he did with the golf course. I'm alternately horrified and delighted. I hate the 3 Jacks for how they treated me, but I'm also tangled up with worry about Boone. Does he still hate me? Is he going to come after me and Winona next? Actually, I'd be fine with that, because I could use the money he'd give me for the trailer and pay all the bills I'm behind on. I grab my purse from behind the counter. I have to go, I tell my boss. Your shift doesn't end for 3 more hours, she says, jumping up from her stool with an angry look on her face. If you leave, you're fired. I know, I call out, shoving my phone in my pocket as I race out the door. I'll pick up my check later. I have to see Boone. I have to know what's going on. And, okay, I want to watch 3 Jacks burn to the ground if it's going to go up in flames, because I'm petty and vindictive like that. My heart hammers as I drive over to the old office. I haven't been back here in the week that's passed since I got fired. I've been too busy scraping together work to pay the bills. I'm a little nervous that I just also quit my newest job at 2 Scoops, but I've got Burger Grill that I start at on Monday, so there's that at least. Really, I'd drop both jobs if it meant I got to see Boone again. As I pull into the parking lot, I see Boone's truck, and my heart hammers. I called him twice after we parted, and he never returned my calls. It's a little twist of justice, I suppose, for all the times he called me and I never returned the calls. I should have, because it feels like crap to be ignored. And I hate that I only called twice. I should have called him more. I should have kept trying, tried to explain myself to him, emailed, shown up at his trailer, something. But I was too ashamed. I hated that he'd found out, and I hated that he was so upset by it. What could I possibly say to make it any better? I still mentally cringe thinking of Winky Jack and his shitty comments about me flipping burgers at the black-tie dinner. I hope Boone doesn't hate me. I park my car next to his and close my eyes, pressing my forehead on the steering wheel. Please give me a chance, I whisper. Please let me win you back. But over and over, I picture him burning down that golf course with the expression of smug satisfaction on his face, and I worry there won't be forgiveness for someone who's tricked him. If there isn't, I'll Well, I'll go on. I'll be sad, miserable, and alone, but I'll carry on, because that's what I've always done. I'll continue to put one foot in front of the other and give Winona the best life I can. But for once, it would be nice to have something that was for me, someone that I could love as selfishly and wildly as I wanted. Not just someone. I want Boone. I don't want anyone else. Don't even want to entertain the thought. I've always been a cautious person, and I've been flirted with and dated a few times, but no one has interested me enough to want more, to want to rearrange my entire busy schedule just for a few minutes in his company. With Boone, it's different. Everything's different. And I've fucked it all up. My phone buzzes with another incoming text, and I'm positive it's Farah, asking me where the heck I am. I can't stall any longer, so I take a deep breath and get out of the car. Farah's there on the sidewalk, a box of desk stuff tucked under her arm, staring at her phone and texting with her thumb. She looks up as I approach, noting my pink two-scoop sun visor and my chocolate-stained polo. I'm glad you're here. The Jacks are freaking the fuck out. I cross my arms over my chest. Why do I care if the Jacks are upset? I'm kind of glad they are, actually. I don't work here anymore. Behind us, a fire truck roars into the parking lot. Farah stares at it, then looks over at me. You think this is all a stunt? With Boone? I laugh. No. On our first date, he burnt down a golf course because someone pissed him off. Is he a pyro? Her eyes are wide. I shake my head. He just doesn't like being ignored or mocked, so he finds a way to get people's attention. This usually does it. Funny how I thought this was the most bizarre thing when I met Boone, but now I understand him. He refuses to be treated as if he doesn't matter, and if it means getting people's attention in the most over-the-top way, he'll do it to make his point. It's all just money to him. Easy come, easy go, just like he said. Ivy. Jack crosses the sidewalk toward me and Farah, a weepy Janet in tow. Thank God. You need to stop this madman. Madman? I ask politely. Yes. He went in the building with a can of gas and matches and kicked everyone else out the moment the paperwork was signed. Jack leans in. He's going to burn the place like some sort of arsonist. Well, did you sell it to him? Jack straightens, his eyes narrowing. Because if he bought the building and you agreed to it, then it's not really arson, is it? I give him my sweetest smile. He owns the place, so I'm sure he can do what he likes to it. But it's the heart of Three Jacks, Jack protests. I didn't even get to take all my stuff, Janet wails at his side. There are entire file cabinets I didn't get to. He didn't let you clean the place out? He only gave us an hour, Jack says, indignant. The other Jacks have their offices locked. Can you imagine the shitstorm when they come in and find out that the place has been burned to the ground? So, why did you sell? I ask. When Jack's face goes purple with outrage, a laugh threatens to bubble up in my throat. It's because he offered you an obscene amount of money, didn't he? Jack narrows his eyes at me. Are you laughing at this, Miss Smithfield? Because I fail to see what's so fucking funny. Ivy, can you please just go in and talk to him? Farah asks. I don't think Jack would have sold the place if he'd have realized that the guy was planning on burning the building down. This is an historic building, Jack agrees, jumping into the conversation again. It has been completely refurbished under my watch and brings pride to the name Three Jacks, and you sold it, I butt in. Which is on you. Farah gives me an unhappy look, and I raise a hand. Don't worry. I'll go in and talk to him. Talking to Boone is pretty much my entire reason for being here. "Thank you," Farah says. She shoots an unhappy look at both Jack and Janet, and then looks at me, expectant, as if I'm going to fix this. I kind of don't want to fix it. I want to take one of the gas cans and help Boone light the place up. Is that bad? I'm not sure I care. I open the elegant glass door that leads into the Three Jacks lobby. I remember coming into this office for the first time and thinking about how incredibly beautiful the building was and how they must cater to a lot of high-end clients with such a fancy place. I remember thinking that I'd give anything to work at an office as posh as this one, that all my problems would be solved if I could work here. Funny how perspective changes. I've been less stressed working at the ice cream shop for the last week because, at least there, I know my paycheck is guaranteed. I know no one's going to swoop in and take it out from under me. And really, there are no high expectations I can never hope to fulfill. There's a faint, acrid scent in the air as I step inside, and it's silent in the lobby. It's so quiet that I almost miss the fact that someone's sitting at the front desk. It's Boone wearing a suit, his back to me. His shoulders look broad and gorgeous in the jacket, and I experience a pang of loss so great it nearly brings me to my knees. I had this gorgeous man, and I lost him. He slowly turns in the chair, and I see he's playing with a book of matches. As I watch, he plants one foot and then the other on the top of Janet's desk. "Just the person I came to see," he drawls. "Do you go by Ivy or Reba?" I'm momentarily taken aback. We're playing with all the cards out on the table, are we? Then I realize there's nothing else to hide. Not anymore. I'm already at rock bottom. Only my sister calls me Reba, and I'm pretty sure she does it just to piss me off. Boone smiles a little. "Ivy, then." "Yes, just Ivy. I'm the same person, no matter what you think." He nods slowly and studies my clothing. "What is that get-up?" "The official employee uniform for Two Scoops Ice Cream and Malt Shop. I think I just got fired, though." "Do I need to go burn it down, too?" For some reason, that strikes me as incredibly funny, and I start to laugh. I press my fingers to my lips because it shouldn't be funny, and yet I can't stop laughing. A moment later, though, my laughter is turning into sobs. When did everything go to such shit? "Baby girl, it's always been shit. You've just been too stubborn to notice." Another laugh hiccups out of me. "I guess you're right." "Come here." He gestures, indicating I should join him at Janet's desk. I swipe at my stupid, leaky eyes and glance back through the tinted glass windows of the lobby. Out in the parking lot, another fire truck is pulling up, and I see Jack pacing while on his phone. Everyone else is waiting, their boxes in hand, confused and uncertain looks on their faces. No one knows what's going on. "I came to talk to you," I tell him as I approach, my steps slow and cautious. I want to rush forward and fling myself into his arms, but I'm not exactly sure how that'd be received, so I play it cool. I'm holding my breath as I approach Boone, and as I do, I wish I had taken off my stupid cap or not spilled quite so much ice cream on the front of my shirt. He wants a lady, and right now, I'm the furthest thing from it. But there's no more hiding between us. I have to be who I am. Dirty shirt, dirty past, and all. There's a hint of defiance in my stance when I move to the side of the desk and stand next to him. "Here I am." He swings his feet down off the desk. Boone's hands go to my hips, and he looks at them thoughtfully, as if trying to decide what to do with me. I can feel my body respond just to that small touch, and I'm disappointed when all he does is pick me up and set me gently down on top of Janet's desk, right in front of him. I look around because it feels too vulnerable to look right into his face. There's burned-out matches on the desk, and I pick one up. "What are you doing, Boone?"
Thought that was obvious, baby girl. I'm gonna fucking torch the place.
I give him an exasperated look and point the dead match at him. You can't buy and burn down every building in San Antonio just because the people inside are dicks.
I,
He says, and pulls the match from my fingers.
am a billionaire. I can do whatever I want, and if they're dumb enough to sell the place to me, then they don't get a say in how I treat the building.
I have to bite down on the inside of my cheek to keep from smiling, because wasn't that just the very thing I said to the others outside, not 5 minutes ago? "And you're going to burn this place down?"
To the fucking ground.
He agrees, a devilish smile curving his mouth. His beard brushes against the starchy white collar of his suit, and my fingers itch to touch him. God, I miss him so much. I feel like an addict that's had to go cold turkey and doesn't want to. Just because they're jerks?
No,
His gaze moves over my body.
because they were mean to you.
My heart seems to stop in my chest. My body prickles with awareness of him, and I'm on the verge of crying again. This time, though, I give in to my impulse and reach out and caress his cheek, letting his beard tickle my hand. "You're doing this for me?" He turns his face and kisses my palm.
Ivy, I'd do everything for you.
"I thought you hated me," I whisper. The tears I've been fighting against so hard start flowing like rain. Boone captures my hand in his and kisses my palm again.
I love you, Ivy, or Reba, or whatever you want to call yourself. I was hurt, yeah, but I think I was more hurt that you lied to me than the fact that you're not this person I built up in my head. None of that shit matters.
He nips at my fingers. "You never called me back."
I was fucking depressed because it felt like I'd lost you, somehow. Took Clay coming over to kick my ass and make me realize that nothing had changed. I still feel the same way about you.
"Even though I'm poor?" The words feel like they're strangling me. "I live in a trailer, Boone. My father—"
He's in prison. I know.
He kisses my fingertips again.
I know all of it, baby.
How did you find out?"
Clay hired a private investigator, pulled a bunch of records. You ain't mad about it, are you?
I stare at him. I'm not mad. It just feels a bit like all of my clothes have been peeled off and I'm naked and vulnerable. I've tried really hard not to follow in my parents' footsteps. Tried to give my little sister the life she deserves to have. He gently bites down on the fleshy pad under my thumb, sending tingles through my body.
I know, Ivy. I ain't judging you.
I'm not classy.
Baby, you are the ultimate in classy.
He kisses the inside of my wrist.
That has nothing to do with you living in a trailer.
He presses another kiss on my arm, moving up the soft inner skin toward my elbow.
I know you grew up in a trailer, and I know I said I wanted a classy woman, but I changed my mind. I want one that's like me.
You think I'm like you?
Aren't you?
He looks up from my arm and grins.
We both come from poor backgrounds. We're both hard workers. We're both addicted to each other. And we're both pig-headed as fuck.
I give a little snort of amusement.
Well, you're not wrong about that. We're the same, you and I, and that's who I want by my side. Not someone that I can dress up pretty and trot out to parties like a doll. I want a real, living, breathing, gorgeous woman at my side who will occasionally tell me to go fuck myself and maybe let me put my hand up her skirt while I'm driving.
He goes back to kissing my arm.
I love you, Ivy, Reba, whoever you want to be. and that hasn't changed.
I love you too, I tell him, breathless. I love you so much, Boone. I'm so sorry I didn't tell you.
I know, baby. I understand why you didn't.
He kisses the inside of my elbow, and I feel a shiver move through my entire body at the caress.
Took me a few days, but I got it. Will you forgive me for being a stubborn ass?
Only if you forgive me for the same.
I think I can manage that.
He gets to his feet and pulls me against him.
Can I kiss you now?
I think I'd be sad if you didn't.
Can't have that,
he murmurs, and leans in to brush his mouth over mine. His lips and his taste sweep over me, and I'm lost again. I lean into his embrace, eager for more of his kisses. I'm hungry for him, and it's been far too long since I've felt his touch. His hands cut my cheek, and then our lips are locked in a fierce caress, my tongue tangling with his. He groans, and his hands slide to my ass, cupping my butt through my cheap slacks. I twine my arms around his neck and sigh happily when the kiss breaks. I love you, Boone.
You are mine, Ivy. Ain't nothing coming between us, baby.
He kisses the tip of my nose.
I may not be a smooth man, but you will never find anyone more devoted to you.
I'm not looking for a smooth man. I want my man, beard and all. Boone growls low in his throat and claims my mouth in another scorching kiss.
This man and his beard want to take you upstairs and go fuck on a boardroom table.
I gasp at the lewd statement, but I'm also kind of turned on by it. The boardroom?
Right on top of that dickface's paperwork, if you like,
he tells me, rubbing his beard against my neck as he nuzzles my ear. And then you're going to burn this place down, like the golf course? He pulls back and grins at me.
You do know I donated that land to the city, right?
You did?
Yep. They're building a park there. You want to build a park here, too?
He nips my ear.
I think we could call it the Ivy Smithfield Takes No Shit from Her Boss's Park.
I giggle. I don't know if that sounds like me. I took their shit for a long time.
But that's why you've got me to back you up, baby,
he says, gazing down at me. The expression on his face is completely serious.
I've got your back. Right now and forever.
I tremble with the force of how wonderful that statement is. I love you, I whisper again, just because I need to tell him. I'm the luckiest woman alive.
Does the luckiest woman alive want to go find a nice boardroom and get my beard between her thighs?
Oh, God, does she ever? He picks me up and carries me like a princess, heading up the elegant marble stairs to the upper offices. I've only been up here a few times in the entire span of my employment with 3 Jacks. There's a private bathroom, the 3 exclusive swanky offices of the Jacks, and a small boardroom that they liked to hold their meetings in. I point at the door as Boone carries me upstairs, and he kicks it open.
Nice table,
he comments as he sets me down on the beveled wooden edge of it.
Expensive.
For them, it's all about looking the best, I agree, scooting back a few inches to get comfortable.
Maybe I'll take it with me,
he says, a devilish look on his face.
So every time I lay you down on it, he's getting fucked over by me.
Ew. I vote burn it.
Burn it is,
he agrees, his hands going to my nylon work belt and tugging at it.
And let's get these off you. My mouth misses your sweet pussy something fierce.
I moan at his filthy words, tearing at my belt. The clasp pops off and clinks to the floor, but I don't even care. I miss him terribly, and I want him more than anything I can imagine. He stands between my spread thighs. His hands drag over my breasts, rubbing them through the thick weave of my cheap shirt, finding my nipples under the layers of fabric and coaxing them into aching little points. My hands tear at my pants, and I manage to work them down my hips, along with my panties.
"Look at how sexy and hot you are, Ivy,"
he breathes, his hand sliding down my front to caress my smooth pussy.
"God, I love touching you."
"Then touch me more," I encourage, pushing at the fabric of my slacks that's gathered at my hips. "Get these off me."
"Yes, ma'am."
He helps me slide them off my legs entirely, and then I'm bare from the waist down. He groans at the sight and puts his hands on my hips, tugging me toward him. I wrap my legs around his hips and reach for his belt. "Your turn." He undoes his zipper and belt, and then shoves his pants down his hips. His cock thrusts out at me, thick and beautiful and gorgeous. It makes my mouth water just to look at it. I reach between us and stroke the head, beads of pre-cum wetting my fingers. "Condom?" Boone shakes his head.
"Didn't bring one. Didn't hope for this."
His hand goes between my thighs, and he rubs his thumb over my clit. "It doesn't matter," I tell him. "I'm committed if you are."
"Oh, I'm committed,"
he tells me, and then drags one of the chairs over and sits down. The moment he does, he pulls me to the edge of the table, and his face descends between my legs.
"I won't come inside you, Ivy. I want the time to be right for our family."
"Sounds good to me," I breathe, and a moment later his mouth is on my pussy, and I cry out, arching my hips, because he's not playing around today. This isn't a gentle tease. This is an all-out assault with tongue and lips determined to make me come fast and come hard. He strokes a finger into my core, even as he sucks on my clit, and then kisses it.
"Already wet as hell for me, baby."
"Always for you, Boone." He groans and plants another kiss on my pussy, leaving me quivering and aching for more, and then he gets to his feet again. A moment later, I feel the head of his cock pushing against my core, and then he's seated inside me. He leans over me, his body pressing mine to the table. His hand fists in my hair, and he kisses me, and then begins to slowly pump inside me. It feels incredibly wicked to be lying on a boardroom table in the place I used to work at, naked from the waist down and being fucked by my lover with no condom. I'm wet, and underneath me the wooden table's getting slippery, my hips moving across the table with every slam of Boone's hips against mine. There's something about the shamelessness of it that turns me on, and I moan and writhe under Boone's heavy body as he pushes into me.
"Come for me, baby,"
he demands, and his hand goes to my breast.
"Let me feel you squeezing tight around me."
Another moan escapes my throat, and I raise my hips to meet his next thrust. His fingers pinch my nipple hard, and I'm shocked at the tweak of pain and the rush of pleasure that ripples through me in the next instant.
"That's right,"
Boone drawls, watching me with heavy-lidded eyes.
"You wiggle that ass for me, baby girl. Come for me."
And when he teases my nipple again, at the same time he pounds into me, I do come, and I come hard. I scream out his name, arching on the table.
"Ivy,"
he rasps, and then he pulls out of me. I watch, fascinated, as he takes his cock in hand, slick with the juices from my body, and strokes it hard. A few pumps, and then he spatters my stomach with hot liquid, his eyes closed, face contorted with the force of his pleasure. I fight to catch my breath, panting, as he milks his cock over my belly and thighs. It's obscene, filthy, and erotic all at once.
"Damn,"
he breathes when he's finished. He opens his eyes and gazes down at me.
You are the most beautiful mess right now, covered in my cum.
I sit up on my elbows, giving him my best saucy look. Want me to roll over and get your leavings all over the boss man's table?
You filthy little thing,
he says with a chuckle and leans down to kiss me.
But then we'll really have to burn the damn table.
I giggle because it is filthy, and I like the idea far too much. I'm turning into some sort of deviant around him, and I love it. You still want to burn this place down?
Unless you want it?
I shake my head. I think it will make a lovely park. His eyes gleam with amusement.
You want to light the first match?
Love to. I sit up, and he pulls off his shirt and begins to towel me off with it, a look of intense concentration on his face. He's so tender, and yet I'm worried. Boone? He glances up at me. Where do we go from here? You and me. He finishes cleaning me off and tosses his shirt into a wastebasket, leaving me with a lovely view of nothing but deeply tanned muscle. He caresses my jaw and gazes at me thoughtfully.
Well, I thought tomorrow I'd rent out that helicopter again and find us another black-tie party to go crash, because I still want to show my woman off.
There's a lump in my throat. There's not much to show off, Boone. He shakes his head.
That's where you're wrong, Ivy. I'd show you off because you're the thing I'm most proud of. You're beautiful and smart and funny and sexy and way too good for a dumb roughneck like me. I'd show you off because all those other bastards would be insanely jealous they wouldn't have an Ivy of their own. I want them all to be jealous of my fiancé.
You're the most wonderful, crazy man I've ever met. You know that? Boone just grins at me.
Long as you love me, baby. I don't care how crazy that makes me.